Hello, in this video, I'll be talking to you about Scrum Values and Pillars. I'll also be sharing how this metaphor of rugby game, the Scrum, was adopted for IT industry by the co-creators of Scrum and how did they put a framework around it. So let's try to understand the values and pillars of Scrum because this is very important for us to learn about Scrum and then it becomes easier to implement it. As I told you in the previous video, Scrum framework is used for mainly managing projects and delivering projects. Right? In this video, you'll understand more about Scrum using the pillars and values. We'll see how these pillars and values are used throughout the entire sprint duration when we're delivering the projects. Let's get started. What do you think are the Scrum pillars when we are working on an IT project? So what are we actually trying to do? Are we checking for something? Are we kind of making mistakes and then adjusting things? Are we having something like, okay, I know what's happening, who's doing what, everybody has that view? Anytime do you get this kind of feeling when you're working on Scrum projects? So around these three things, three pillars of Scrum are created. What are they? Let's see them. The first one is inspection, right? In Scrum, we inspect a lot, okay, when the sprints are being executed, and then we try to ensure that we get the output at the end. Working on the sprints, when things are not meeting, we try to adapt, right? So inspection, adoption, and the third pillar is the transparency. Does everybody know who's working on what? Are we kind of being open in giving feedback? Are we telling that this can be done, this cannot be done, this is sustainable, this is not sustainable, this is not a better logic? So these three things is what the co-creators of Scrum, what Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber told that, okay, let's have these three as the pillars of Scrum. Let's look a little bit more on inspection. In inspection, so what are we inspecting? Things we can inspect is interactions. How did the interactions go between the developers and the testers, between the developers and the PO? Did we get the clarifications at the right time? Right? Many times we don't get the clarifications. Many times the user stories are not clear. Right? Are we talking to each other? Right? See, the best part about user story is not like how you write it, right? How much we talk about it, right? How, are those interactions happening with the people, right? The face-to-face communications. So this is one way to inspect things. So to inspect the interactions, how did it go? And then you've got the practices. Did we follow the practices? Did you write the user stories? Did the user stories have the invest criteria? Did the user stories have the acceptance criteria with them? We have to inspect all these practices also, right? Did we kind of look into the burn down chart? Did we see the velocity? Did we actually track these things? Okay, are we tracking the product backlog? Are we seeing what's the product increment? So we have to inspect all of these things. Then after processes, did we follow the processes? Did we meet at the right time? Did we meet on the sprint planning? Did we meet on the daily stand-ups every day? Did we have the retros? Did we have the reviews? Right? Then the daily scrums become practice inspection, retrospectives, right? So these are the things we need to inspect in Scrum. When we're building softwares, we have to inspect how the work is going. This is not micromanagement, but then reviewing and giving course corrections, right? So inspection happens. Now, adaptation. So immediate feedback. When we are doing a demo to the customer, we are getting immediate feedback from the customer. Every 10 days with the sprint, we are getting the feedback. I had one of the projects wherein we are building a POC on stitching of few documents, wherein we used to demo everything in the evening to the customer. We are getting a lot of feedback and the customer is going gaga, right? Wow, great, you guys are doing great, right? So immediate feedback. Then fix in the next sprint. Right, so we understand, take the feedback, this was not done right, this can be fixed, now let's kind of do a course correction and then add this in the next sprint and fix it. That's the adaptation you're doing, right? Then after that, improve with the retro feedbacks. We all come together and in the retrospective we all ask questions like how did things go well, right? What do we need to improve and what are the action items? So that's how we start doing the adaptation, right? So this is working fine, it's not working, so let's kind of change few things. That's important. The next thing is the transparency. So transparency starts at the beginning of the sprint itself, right? When the sprint goal is defined, right? Who ensures it? The Scrum Master ensures the transparency, right? So I want you to see this mind map, right? And then after that, the Scrum board also helps with the transparency. The sprint goal is put in front of you. People are giving feedback. You know what is the story status, what is the QA date from the Jira board. You know who is the owner of the story. You know like what is the delay, the definition of done, the acceptance criteria. So everything is in front of us. The QA results are there on the Jira board, the test trails are there, the QA feedback is there, in the comment section. So all those things are there. So everybody knows what's happening. It's a very, very transparent process. It's like nobody's hiding anything. This transparency also helps us progress further and do great in the sprints. Right? So that was the mind map. I would request you to kind of have a look of this mind map. Take a pen and paper, make a note of this. These are the three pillars of Scrum, and this is what we do on each pillar. This will help you answer many questions, examinations also like PMP, CSM, and it will also help you work better. Ask yourself this question, right? Are we inspecting? Are we adapting? Are we being transparent? Okay, so let's go a little further. The next few slides will come towards the Scrum values. We finish the pillars, but before that, I want you to give some idea about how did Scrum originate, right? The co-creator of Scrum was Jeff Sutherland. In his book, he has told like how did they kind of form an idea. His book is like doing double the things half of the time. So very lovely book on Scrum. So do read that. So he takes an example from the New Zealand's rugby team, the Blacks. They start with a ritual before every match. They start with something called as the Haka Maori dance. So, right, this is a dance which charges up people before a battle, before they get into it. So it's like it brings in a lot of synergy. Okay. So the warrior ceremony of Haka, right? So before every match, these guys come, they dance, they get charged up. You should see or just Google this YouTube. On YouTube, go and just search for this. You'll see the dance, see how people are charged up. So he says this is the mindset people need to bring when they come to work together as teams. The intense collaboration the team has, right? Everybody is just having that one goal of taking the ball and put it on the other side of the line, right? So that's that, and nobody cares like who's going to do it, right? It's not like I'm doing it, you are doing. So the end goal is everybody is aligned towards one end goal. So do watch this video. I also watch this video, so I got a bit charged up. So he used to make his team watch these videos and get charged up, right? Before every sprint. Okay, that's why as I told you, this is a dance to get charged up. So Scrum framework was set based on observations from the rugby game, right, by the co-creators. And people used to come back in the development team to sit and they used to work. They used to watch these videos, get started up, see, and then after they put a framework based on their observations. So what were their observations? They saw intense focus on the goal. Everybody was just aligned to put the ball on the other side, right? Then radical collaboration, passing on, hands together, locked in, right? That was the radical collaboration which people had. Then hunger to crush the opponent, right? So any roadblocks or impediments that you're getting, you just want to close it off and just want to go forward. The progression, we have to just progress. And then after that, you've got universal acceptance. Everybody is happy. How's the mood over there, right? So everybody is like excited, right? So that's what they observed. Now based on that, so they put a framework like let's have sprints, a time box duration wherein we want to achieve one goal. So the duration of sprint doesn't change, the time box doesn't change. It can be 11 days, 10 days, 9 days. 10-day sprint is always a 10-day sprint for the next 10, 15 sprints you already planned for. Okay, and then daily stand-ups. They put daily stand-ups like let's have a ritual wherein people come and talk about the progress and the updates and then make some course corrections. Going back to the pillars of Scrum: inspection, adaptation, right, and giving feedback. Then reviews. They wanted to kind of reviews. Did we meet the goal? Did we put the ball at the other end? Right? They wanted to have sprint demos, sprint reviews, and then after that they also wanted to ensure how did you do better. The motivational speech from the coaches usually after the half time, right? There's a retrospective. You didn't do this. Let's do this better. So that's what happens. Okay. So then after putting all of these things together, they wanted to ensure that somebody should be there to ensure this, to make this process effective. Now, who was this person? Who's going to be this person, right? Could be he or she, anybody on the IT team. So that person was the Scrum Master. Scrum Master is now going to ensure that this entire process framework is followed to ensure that we meet the sprint goal. Okay. Now, so how do we do it in IT? We have the retrospectives, we have the daily stand-ups, we have the reviews, we have the Scrum practices, agile principles, and then we have got the Scrum pillars also. We follow all of this to ensure that we meet the end goal of a working software. Getting it? Okay, so now let's understand what are the Scrum values. So there are 5 values of Scrum. I'll also show you a mind map now, then I'll give you a mnemonic on this, and then you can also make a flashcard out of it. Okay. The first value of Scrum is called as focus. We need people to be focused on one particular goal. Okay, I'll talk to you more about this. First, let me give you all the 5 values and then I'll give you the details around each of these values. After focus, we have got respect. What does respect mean in a Scrum team? How do the teams collaborate? How should people behave with each other? How do they present their points? That's the next value. Then openness. What is the culture of openness in Scrum team? How are we going to share like what is the feedback, like how are we doing, what should we be doing, what is wrong, what is available, how are we being transparent, right? Then after that, courage. How should we show courage on a Scrum team? Tell things what we can do, what we cannot do. And then after that, commitment. How are we committed to the sprint goal and who should be committed? So these are the 5 values of Scrum. Let's try to understand little by little in detail. Focus, sprint goal. So we should be focused on the sprint goal. Everybody's focus should be sprint goal. Those 6 user stories that we want to demo at the end of the sprint, that is a sprint goal. With this 3 or 4 developers or the 2 developers and 1 tester, right? So all of them are aligned together, working with the Scrum Master and Product Owner to ensure that we go and deliver this goal of the sprint. Okay, so that should be focused, then nothing else. We are not even targeting of any spillovers. We're not even targeting of any reworks, right? So reworks, defects, everything, whatever is close it in the sprint and then just go and demo a working software. Okay, then ensure focus means assigning the developer one task at a time. You cannot have one developer working on 2 different projects or 3 different projects. A lot of time is lost in context switching. I have recorded one video on 7 lean ways when we talk about this, how much of time is lost on context switching. Okay, when people move from one project to other project and the sprint, it doesn't help. Okay, so that's very, very important. We have to solve this problem of capacity and then ensure people come and work efficiently. Then after that, respect. So how do people develop respect, right? How do we bring trust between the teammates? How are we ensuring that, okay, all of us are locked in the hands together towards the sprint goal, right? So there must be trust between the teammates, right? So everybody should be there. Okay, fine, I can back you up, I can share my thoughts over here, I can work with you. Then after increased collaboration, there should be a lot of collaboration, not only within the Scrum team but with other cross-functional teams also, right? With the DevOps team, with the support team, with the customer success team. So there has to be a lot of cross-functional collaboration as well as a lot of collaboration within the team. Okay, the Scrum team is one team who's going to ensure that we're going to get the output. Okay, then after that, listen to disagree. When people are giving feedback, first you listen. If you agree, great. Then if you don't agree, then tell why you don't agree. What is a better approach? It's not just okay, I'm listening and I'll be discussing with you. No, first thing is listen. Listen to people when they come and tell, okay, fine, this is where I'm stuck, can you help me out? I have done this, I don't have this information, that's why I've not done this. Can you get this information? Or like, this logic is not working, I need some help. First listen. If the approach is not, okay, fine, you're not taking care of this refactoring, this has to be done in this way, then you disagree. So listening is the first thing, right? So good leaders are good listeners. Listening is what you have to do first. Then after that, estimating. Respect when people come and give estimates. I need 3 days to do a particular task. Yes, take 3 days. Listen, okay, fine. Let's go and close this in the next 3 days. Okay, that's very important. Then everyone knows. Then openness. Let's talk about openness. Openness is like everyone knows who's working on what. From the Jira board, from the Scrum board, everybody knows like what is happening, and then they are fine. Okay, this is what we need to do. Okay. Then after that, bring out the issues in the daily stand-ups, right? Bring out the issues. Okay, I'm stuck over here, can somebody help me out? I tried this, it's not working, right? Okay, I'm not getting that approval, that team is not responding back to me, I'm not getting this config updated because the team from the product side is not getting this done. The product team says they need like 5 to 7 days to do this. The customer says we have to put it in this sprint, they have the roadmap. So bring out the issues, talk to people, let the Scrum Master know, let him go and do the work. Okay, bring out the issues. Then helps in finding a way to get things unblocked, right? The openness helps us remove the unblock. Unless until we talk to people, unless until we reach out to people and tell them what's the blocker, we'll not be able to do things. Finally, then courage. The Scrum teams should have great courage. They should be able to take on the challenge of the project. I'll get it done. Right? As a team, let's go and get it done, right? That's what we expect. Then speak out when things are not realistic. Like, no, what you're saying is needs to be done in like 4 sprints of 2 weeks each, and then you're telling us to do it in 1 sprint. It's not possible. Don't take outrageous goals on as a goals, right? Say no to impossible goals. You have to speak out. You have to give courage. When you come to retrospective, you should show courage and tell, okay, fine, this is where we missed. This is how we have to fix it. The openness, the courage, that culture has to be there. Then commitment, collective commitment. It's not just the Scrum team or the development team who's committed. It's also the leadership team has to be committed on the sprint goal. What is it we want to do and deliver? Okay, so commitment has to be there. That's on the sprint goal from all the stakeholders, both from the customer side and our side. Even the customer has to come and give us clarifications on time. These are the values of Scrum. Let's go to the mnemonic on Scrum. So how do we remember this 5 values? I'll show an image. What is this image? This is an image of a frog. So with this 5 letters, we'll make the 5 values. So F stands for focus, right? R stands for respect. O stands for openness. C stands for courage. And as this, we should be putting a K, commitment, but commitment starts from C. Just think of this word as K-O-M-M-I, commitment, right? So that's the mnemonic you have, frog, F-R-O-C-K. So it's actually commitment C, right? F-R-O-C-C doesn't make sense. So I'm just saying, let's put it as F-R-O-C-K, frog. Remember that, but the last C is for commitment. So this is the mnemonic. Make a flashcard, put the 5 letters in front, draw a frog, and behind that you put the 5 values: focus, respect, openness, courage, and commitment. So these are the Scrum values. So that's with this video. I want you to watch this video a couple of times. See how are you working on sprints from the 3 pillars: inspect, adapt, and transparency. Bring that mindset of that rugby team, the warrior dance that they do. They align the energy that we have towards the sprint goal. And then after that, how are we living these values of Scrum: focus, respect, openness, and courage. Thank you for watching my video. This is Arham Faraaz. Like it, subscribe it, share this video. Keep watching my videos. I'll be uploading more videos. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.